Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm talking about single shadows again. I know I just put up a one and done, and when I say just, it's been probably a month now, but fairly recently I put up my favorite one and done shadows. And ever since then, I have been basically using one shadow a day. Not only those, but also other ones. And I thought, you know what? I do use a lot of powder shadows, and I mostly talked about cream and liquid type shadows in that other one and done video. So I thought I would come on today, knee deep in my single shadow era, and share with you the ones that I've been reaching for the most lately to do that one and done look. I honestly don't remember the last time I picked up a palette. I really have just been doing one shadow and that's it. So let's go ahead and jump in. I will insert swatches as I go, and I will also cut away to me applying these shadows so that you can see what they look like on the lids, both with and without mascara. I really haven't even been pulling for eyeliner lately. It's just been the shadows and mascara, and I have not been putting anything under my eyes, including mascara. So typically I will put some kind of liner or shadow underneath my eyes. I've been skipping that and the mascara a lot lately. I just think it looks a little more fresh. I will definitely go back to the liner and mascara underneath, no fear there, but I just haven't been reaching for it lately. So let's jump into the first shadow, and this is one of the new Chanel shadow singles. I don't have any of the previous formula because a lot of these, from my understanding, are just repeats of a previous formula in the same colors, but reformulated. Some of them may be new colors, but I know this one is not. And this is Brun Talpa, which is this very pretty. It says it is a satin finish, and it is. It is not overly metallic, as I think you'll be able to see in the cutaway. It has a little bit more of a cool tone to it. It is definitely a taupe that leans more purplish, in my opinion. I'm not saying it looks purple on the lids, but when you put it next to other taupes, especially the next one I'm going to talk about, it does lean a little more cool. And despite the fact that it's a satin finish, same with all the other satin finishes that I'm going to be talking about, I do put it up into my crease and blend it out, and it works great. So this is one that I reach for if I'm wanting to wear like a pink blush and maybe a lip that has a little bit more of a cool undertone. It just is very cohesive. All of these last a long time on me. By the way, I don't have any fading by the end of the day, because I know some people might be curious about that. The next one that I'm going to talk about is one that a lot of people are comparing to Brun Talpa, and it is a single shadow from Dior called Beige Mitah, or Mitah. I just say mitah. It is, again, another taupe shade, but this one is not as cool toned in my opinion, and I'm hoping that the natural light swatches come through. In fact, I might put these two together on camera too so you can see. It's a little bit darker than the Chanel Brun Talpa, and it has a little bit more shimmer sheen that shows up on the eye once blended out than the Chanel does. So for me, they're different enough to justify having both. But if you want to look at, you know, the swatches that I'm showing and compare how they look on the eyes, and you only want one, that's the main difference. This is a little less cool toned, but is a little deeper and more shimmery sheen on the eye. So this is Brun Talpa from Chanel, and that is Beige Mitah up there. So see how this one it just pulls more cool toned. And this one, when you move it, you can see it catches the light more, so that shimmer is more evident in the Beige Mitah. Next two are also ones that I basically wore on the same day because they're a little bit similar on the eyes with subtle differences. So you'll see in the cutaways that I do one on one eye and one on the other. I would absolutely be remiss if I did not include one of the Chantecaille Mermaid shadows. I love these so much. I have 4 shades. 3 of them are shimmer, 1 of them is more of a matte. This is my favorite out of all of them, and it is in the shade Copper. It is a beautiful goldish. It is more gold actually than copper in my opinion. Really, it's more neutral than copper in my opinion. When I think copper, I think of like a penny, you know, it has that true copper undertone. This one doesn't. It just is so beautiful, bronzy, gorgeous on the eyes, and very, very, very easy to use. I love the size of it. It's incredibly easy to travel with, and I mean, I get compliments all the time. I very often wear this with something in the crease, and I very often wear it by itself. It is that easy. And looks good with every eye color, but especially blue eyes, it just makes them pop. But one that I have that's similar to that, but a little bit different, is the multi-chromatic metal reflecting eyeshadow from Make Beauty in Dream Dust. So this is, they say multi-chromatic. Honestly, it's just a very metallic bronze shadow. And the difference between this and copper, the main difference is this is darker and it has more of a metallic sheen. So when I was done applying both of these, I basically just put this on top of the copper to make them match a little bit more before I left for the day. And it's mainly just the finish and the depth of the bronze shade. So if you're someone who likes a more subtle look, definitely go with the Chantecaille Copper. If you're someone who wants that literal metal shine on your eyes and you like a very pronounced bronze shade, definitely go with Dream Dust from Make Beauty. I also have the champagne one and I really like that one as well. Speaking of champagne, we're gonna move on to another Chanel single shadow, and I wore this one in my live with Abby and I had someone comment about how much they liked my makeup and I'm like, if you only knew, it is one shadow. It took 2 seconds. And this one is called Beige Sable. I've been talking a lot about Beige Suede lately. This is Beige Sable and it is a satin finish as well. And it is more champagne. It's actually more white champagne than gold champagne. And it is the most subtle out of all of the shimmers that I'm gonna show today. You can build it up on the eyes by applying it with a brush first and then patting it on with your fingers, or you can use a fluffy brush and have an intensely subtle sheen on the eyes. This is really good for anybody. It's gonna look good on anybody's eyes. It is great for someone who doesn't want a lot of shimmer, but they want to venture out from their mattes. This is definitely one to start with. It's very pretty on the eyes, and I would honestly, in the past, never put this and only this on the eyes. I would just feel like I felt incomplete. But when you do that, add the mascara, leave the bottom lashes bare, it doesn't feel incomplete to me. It just feels very, very fresh. So definitely another winner from Chanel. We're gonna stick on the Chanel train and talk about 2 mattes that I have been loving. And this one again is no surprise if you've watched my recent videos. It is my favorite of the Chanels that I've tried so far. It's one of my favorite shadows of all time now, and it is the Chanel Single Shadow in Beige Suede. So this is their matte version. I've talked about this in a couple of videos, so I'm not gonna stay on it too long. This swatch looks very blah. It is a mustardy undertoned brown. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is a lighter version of MAC Uninterrupted and Bobbi Brown Camel. So if you have those and love them and love that color story, but maybe you want something a little lighter, definitely do this. This is perfect. It's perfect on its own. It's perfect with the bronzer and the crease. I used it in my full face of Chanel. I love this so much, and it's been the one that I've used the most out of all of these since I have gotten it. I just, there's something about this color on the eyes, especially with the finished look, that looks so good. The second matte I'm going to talk about is from Jane Iredale, and I don't typically talk about A, Jane Iredale shadows, or B, Jane Iredale single shadows. I love the palette in Solar Flare. That's probably my favorite palette. This is hands down my favorite single shadow, and while I was swatching them for the video, I felt such a dent that I'm honestly surprised I have not hit pan, and this is in the shade Sienna. And again, it's one I don't talk about, but I wear all the time. I started wearing this the most in the crease. It is a very pretty brick toned brown. So it does have some warmer undertones, which you will be able to see in comparison to the other shadows that I have swatched. It's definitely the warmest, in my opinion, and has just that like terracotta brick undertone. So again, I started using this the most in the crease when I first got it, and I would travel with it a lot. In fact, I love this with Chantecaille Copper. I would wear this so much, and I travel with it very often because, I mean, look at how tiny, and you have a full eye look. But then I started using this all over the eye, up into the crease, just by itself, and I loved it. Again, that brick terracotta really brings out the blue in my eyes, and there's just something about how it lays. It's a beautiful color. It's one that, again, may seem blah, but I feel like everybody needs something like this in their collection, and if you're someone who really doesn't like palettes, which I can understand, Obviously, I've been pulling away from them a little bit more lately, only using one shadow, and it can be overwhelming for a lot of people, and I totally get that. And also, you can feel like you're wasting money because you may love like 3 out of the 12 shades in the palette. You know you'll never touch the other 9, but you really want those 3. If you're someone that doesn't get palettes because of that, but you want like a good everyday matte crease color that can also be worn all over the lid, this is it right here, Jane Iredale Sienna. And then finally, I had to include the one I have on today, and this is basically one that I love every shadow in this collection, but this is the one that I would pick if I want, obviously, a little bit of a darker, smokier eye. Now, if I was going out to a nighttime event, I would definitely take this under my eyes. Today, I didn't. I just have it on top, but it is the Chantecaille Luminescent Eye Shade in Burnished Brown Giraffe. So all of these have some kind of animal in the front, and this one is giraffe. It's part of their philanthropy collection, and this is such a beautiful, warm, coppery bronze. Perfect for someone who, again, has maybe a nighttime event. They like a smoky eye. They like a darker shadow. This is it. It's so beautiful. I really like this one layered with lion, which is like a gold. It's really pretty layered with cheetah. It's pretty on its own. I get a lot of use out of this one. It's actually pretty as a liner, despite the fact that it is a more shimmer shade. If you can see on the swatch, and even today, it's not like super metallic shimmery, right? Which is why I can get away with bringing it up into my crease and using it all over. So, you know, it's not gonna be too much like that, but it does give just a sheen. It catches the light as you turn and close your eye. It's beautiful. So definitely my favorite pick for an Oliver shadow for that intense bronze, coppery, smoky eye. That is the roundup of my favorite single shadows at the moment. I am not stopping. I am loving single shadows lately. I have been purchasing more. If you have favorites in the powder versions, definitely let us know down below. I will have all of these listed and linked in the description box. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.